courage to come inside. I'm gonna tell your parents that I wanna make you my bride. Yeah. Taste of the kisses to my baby. Taste of the kisses for only you. See, you climbed every mountain just to find you, baby. So I don't care what the whole world say, I'm gonna make you mine. Oh, we're stealing love. We're stealing love. We're stealing love. We're stealing love. Stealing love, 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 love on the side. But one day I'm gonna make up my mind to come inside. I wanna tell your parents that I'm gonna make you my bride. Boy, make that concertina talk now. But one day I'm gonna make up my mind to come inside. I'm gonna knock, knock and tell your parents that I wanna make you my bride. Yeah, we're stealing love. We're stealing love.
Tonight, an investigation underway after a man is killed this afternoon. This as questions over government's deal to acquire the Grand Bahama Power Company continue to mount. And later, PLP political hopefuls in Grand Bahama, they appear before the Candidates Committee. Eyewitness News starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Janaea Noel. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping news tonight, fear turning into heartbreak for a family after a man was found dead inside his home. This following hours of worry and unsuccessful attempts to reach him. Our Lyndon Ritchie Jr. has the details tonight.
Nearly 4 years after, a man who family members identified as 42-year-old Jamal Ferguson survived being shot during an armed robbery, those closest to him are now faced with the unthinkable reality: death. Tears rolled down the faces of family members and friends who rushed to Ferguson's home as his lifeless body was wheeled out of the front door of the residence after authorities discovered him with visible injuries.
Police can confirm the homicide on Daffodil Avenue, which is the service road to Garden Hills. He was found unresponsive. We also later found out that he had stab wounds to the upper body.
Investigators, when questioned, revealed Ferguson loved ones requested police assistance after he went radio silent.
A co-worker requested a wellness check of the victim by police. Police came to the residence where they gained entry by breaching the residence and discovered the victim.
As for signs of forced entry by culprits or any signs of struggle inside the residence,
No, there was nothing concerning. We cannot say that we're still doing our investigation, as you can, but at this time we can not confirm that.
Now, when pressed by reporters of the timeline between Ferguson's last word to the time he was found dead, police confirmed the co-worker had not heard from the slain man for about 2 days. However, investigators did not confirm if that meant he was killed on Monday, emphasizing they will await the results of an autopsy. With no trace of a possible culprit, police sent this message to the wider community.
We're asking anyone with any information that can assist us in our investigation to please contact the police and provide that information to us.
Ferguson's murder marks the fourth for the year. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Meantime, debate erupting today following government's announcement of its intent to acquire the Grand Bahama Power Company. But did the country's chief speak prematurely on this ongoing deal? Our Jose Etienne takes it from here.
Emera executives declaring tonight that what could be taken as definitive action by government following its announcement yesterday to acquire the Grand Bahama Power Company remains business as usual. In a statement, executives noted that, quote, there is no final agreement at this time, but the Davis administration is heralding its move to acquire the GBPC as a game changer for the island's energy sector, despite caution by Emera suggesting that officials need to pump the brakes. Now, during his press briefing on Tuesday in Grand Bahama, Prime Minister Philip Davis noted that the memorandum of signing with the Canadian-based company is still in the works.
When completed, this would mark the first time the government of the Bahamas has the control over the power company since the Hawksbill Creek Agreement was signed.
But opposition leader Michael Pintard seems far from sold on government's fitness to take over.
This government is in charge of power for the rest of the Bahamas. How well are they doing with that? Because the truth is, we still have disruption in power supplies in a number of locations, most notably in Maikal, most notably in Eleuthera. There's very little interest, I believe, or confidence that they're going to do any better than the power company, which in our view is not doing good.
Pintard's concerns reflect that of a number of Grand Bahamians who spoke to Eyewitness News anonymously about the signing with Emera while we were on the ground for a government's cabinet meeting on Tuesday. But they're also curious about the road ahead, given that residents say they've been saddled with soaring power bills, an issue government is promising to seize the reins on.
It will result in universal electricity rates across the Bahamas, ending a long-standing disparity between Grand Bahama and the rest of our country.
And how soon will relief be felt?
As soon as the transaction is closed. And we estimate it will take about 60 to 90 days for closure.
Here's where things get interesting. Government is looking to own and operate electricity in Grand Bahama while an ongoing Supreme Court battle looks into whether the Grand Bahama Port Authority or the Utilities Regulatory and Competition Authority has ultimate supervisory authority over Grand Bahama Power. Government has insisted, though, that it is the sole regulator.
For too long, the economic engine of Freeport was operated under arrangements that no longer reflect the needs or expectations of the people who live and work here. That is why we have chosen to challenge the status quo with the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
The move to acquire GBPC comes as government has undertaken an aggressive energy reform plan, and that too was initially controversial as there were concerns about Bahamas Power and Light being privatized while Pike mobilized its fleet citywide. Now, it is believed that the acquisition will open the door for BPL to move its operations in Grand Bahama. The next step, however, is addressing union agreements and staffing levels. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, they're establishing their power in the Grand Bahama Power deal. In a statement released this afternoon, the company asserted that any move to change ownership or control of the Grand Bahama Power Company cannot happen. This without the consent of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Now, the GBPA says discussions remain preliminary and non-binding, and until any approval is sought and granted, it is business as usual for electricity service on the island. Meantime, Prime Minister Philip Davis pushing back against Free National Movement Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright, who called the government's announcement on the Grand Bahama Power Company contradictory to a statement issued by Emera. While in Grand Bahama yesterday, the Prime Minister said the government has begun the process to acquire the company, with the deal expected to be finalized within 60 to 90 days. Cartwright, however, argued in the House of Assembly today that a statement from Emera suggested otherwise. Davis accusing the opposition today of attempting to create mischief instead of supporting what he's describing as positive forward movement for Grand Bahama.
Emera's note does not contradict anything that I said. Their concern was, in their view, I ought to have waited until they would have told their staff about the arrangements. They wished to have done it. That's what that note is about. And if you followed what I said, look at exactly what I said, there's no contradiction. And even when I was asked by reporters, when will the deal will be completed, I indicated, and it's in the newspaper as well, that it will be anywhere up to 60, 90 days for final completion. So where's the contradiction? And why do you think you're trying to find something to make hay out of? You all should be happy that there's an effort being made to bring relief to the residents of Freeport, when you all didn't even lift one finger to do so.
Well, despite grand announcements and multi-million-dollar plans, the Free National Movement leader, Michael Pintard, says Grand Bahamians are still waiting to see some real progress, from airport upgrades to cruise pier developments and the Grand Locayan redevelopment. He warns that promises alone are not enough. Arlington Ritchie Jr. has the details tonight.
Opposition Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard says he's not sold on several of the Davis administration's so-called transformational plans for Grand Bahama aimed at reviving the nation's second city. From energy reform to airport and cruise pier development and commitments to honor previous agreements, Pintard says Grand Bahamians remain skeptical.
He has not made progress on the airport. It's either they had $120 million in the bank and we don't know where it is now, so tell us where the money is, or they didn't have it in the bank. We will support. We just need to understand the particulars. The MSC is already in the Grand Bahama market.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Philip Davis pushed back against criticism on Tuesday over delays in the redevelopment of Grand Bahama International Airport, saying talks are moving into the groundwork phase. But Pintard says residents are still in, quote, wait-and-see mode, with little confidence that promises will turn into progress.
We have made more progress since Dorian and the time we were kicked out of office. He still has not told us whether he has a design for the airport, exactly where the location is going to be, whether or not he's going to keep the same footprint.
Davis told reporters that the main construction firm has now been mobilized and that other contractors have begun on-site preparations, meaning the project has missed its April 2025 Phase 1 completion target. The opposition is also criticizing the administration over the lack of movement at the Grand Locayan Resort nearly 1 year after a heads of agreement was signed with Concord Wilshire for an $800 million redevelopment. When pressed about the delay and the absence of clear timelines, Prime Minister Davis called the transaction complex, but said his government is making, quote, steady progress.
Now you tell the public it's such a complex deal. No, your story is complex and we don't believe you. What is the plan with respect to the Grand Locayan? Workers have been complaining that they have not been paid. Even now they are behind on payments to workers.
As for the newly announced MSC Cruise Pier Complex and Beach Club at Billy Key in Freeport Harbor, a project estimated at $450 million, Pintard says the F&M welcomes the investment, but wants to see how much benefit will reach ordinary Grand Bahamians.
We just need to understand the particulars, and we don't know the deals. It's a known entity in the Bahamas that has economic might, and so we believe that it's very possible that they can do some things that are potentially transformative.
Still, the F&M says the latest round of announcements did little to lift morale on the island, arguing that residents need to see shovels in the ground, not just new plans on paper. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Meantime, Prime Minister Philip Davis, ahead of those criticisms, had a few choice words for the opposition, who he says repeatedly uses the deal and other investment opportunities facilitated by the Davis administration as a tax on his current administration's credibility. He, however, asserted that the Davis administration will deliver on what it promised.
The criticisms coming loudest from those who created the problem, they should hang their heads in shame and gratitude. We are only concerned with the development of Grand Bahama, not the incompetent political scammers who brought us this mess. We will ignore the noise. We'll keep doing what serious governments do. Protect workers, protect the public interests, move the project forward step by step in a way that is credible and sustainable. Grand Bahama deserve delivery, and they deserve honesty. They will get both from this administration.
Says that the priority of his party is not to move fast to appease the masses, but to ensure that the work is started and completed.
When history looks back on this period, it will ask a simple question. Did we protect the public interest? Did we confront outdated systems? Did we invest in people? Did we build an economy that could withstand shocks and create opportunities? This administration intends to answer yes to every one of those questions. We are on the right side of history because we choose progress over comfort. We chose reform over delay. We chose to believe in Grand Bahama's potential and to act on that belief.
In news from the healthcare sector tonight, the Public Hospitals Authority confirming that healthcare staff will receive their overtime payments, just not in this current pay cycle, which should have been issued today. An internal memo signed by PHA Managing Director Dr. Aubanet Roll revealing that Cabinet has approved the payment of outstanding overtime for December 2025 only, and if not next week, then the following week. It comes amid mounting frustration from healthcare workers who were told just days ago that overtime budget had been exhausted and would have to be approved by the Managing Director's office. Meantime, President of the Bahamas Nurses Union Muriel Lightbourne chastising Health and Wellness Minister Michael Darville for his recent comments in the media concerning that overtime pay issue. Darville, while in Grand Bahama, telling reporters that he only found out about the Public Hospitals Authority and its exhausted budget days before that notice was sent to healthcare workers. Lightbourne admonished Dr. Darville to shift his focus from the new specialty hospital to the current healthcare facility, which she claims is near a state of disrepair.
You know how I felt about that, hearing the minister say something like that is, you really need to be in touch with your people. He needs to be in touch with what is going on in healthcare. Healthcare in this country, to me, is not getting any better. And while he is so concerned about signing off on this new hospital, what we have in our hands, it's crumbling. It is breaking down. You are not just, we're working in an environment that is not conducive to working. And our nurses and healthcare workers, they continue to go and they continue to press. And he's not doing, to me, he's not doing anything to improve.
Outside of the overtime issue, Lightbourne is also raising concern about staff pay and alleged deductions, which she claims have yet to be explained by the relevant authorities. The union also plans to expand on these issues in a press conference planned for this Friday.
There's some issues where we've had nurses also in the Ministry of Health and Wellness who has worked overtime from October and still not being paid yet. They've had nurses who have had monies deducted from their salaries from June, some up to $600 from June, and still doesn't have, not being told why that money was taken from their salaries.
Well, 2 adults and 3 juveniles facing multiple charges following an alleged attack at the Anatole Rogers High School last week. Prosecutors say 40-year-old Jamiko Powell, 20-year-old Doyle Bastian, and 3 teenage boys, including a 16-year-old, allegedly struck Principal Ricardo Patterson with a tire iron when he intervened during an incident involving a 15-year-old student, the principal reportedly suffering a broken right finger. The accused appearing before Senior Magistrate Algernon Allen Jr., where they all denied charges of assault with dangerous instruments and causing grievous harm. Bail has been set at $5,000. The trial now scheduled for April 22nd. Powell, Bastian, and 2 of the teens also face separate charges for allegedly threatening a 13-year-old female student at the same time at the school on that same day. They denied those charges and were each granted $1,000 bail. Their trial also set for that same date. Police investigations into this matter are said to be ongoing. Still talking news from the crime beat tonight, a woman was robbed of her vehicle after it reportedly broke down on Tuesday afternoon on Bay Lily Drive and Seabreeze Grove in that area. The incident occurring around 5:30 when the woman reported that her silver Nissan Note developed some mechanical issues, forcing her to pull over. While parked, she says, she was approached by an armed man who demanded her vehicle. The woman complied and the suspect drove off in the southern direction along Joe Farrington Road. The suspect is described as a tall, slim-built, light-skinned man wearing a gray hoodie, long tan pants, and a black ski mask. Police later recovering that vehicle abandoned on Seabreeze Lane. No arrests have been made in this matter. Still talking news from the courts tonight, 3 taxicab drivers who were arrested following altercations with police during a protest back on November 10th have all been charged by the courts, according to taxicab union president Tyrone Butler. While not speaking about the nature of the charges, Butler says he's pleased with where the matter stands now. The Sunday morning protest some 2 months ago brought traffic near the Nassau Cruise Port to a standstill, with drivers blocking the entrance with their vehicles, refusing to move until some long-standing grievances were addressed.
The matter is still being processed through the courts, but we're pleased with where we're at with those, and so it's not a major issue for us, but we're satisfied that those men have been dealt with accurately by the representatives of the union and the court, so we're pleased with that. We're not in the process of disciplining our members. We support our members and we fight for their rights. The courts are still adjudicating that matter, so I don't want to get too much into it, so I'll leave it up to the court, but we're pleased with where it's at right now.
Meantime, a viral video is raising concern tonight over what appears to be a scam, with young men allegedly posing as members of a local school's basketball team soliciting funds. Our Rebecca Bain has the details tonight.
So when they asked, they was like, sir, can you please help sponsor our basketball trip? And I was like, sure, no problem. And I asked them what school do they attend. I asked because we work along with the schools, especially R.M. Bailey, when it comes down to their young men and their young men at risk. So when he said to me, R.M. Bailey, I was like, great, wonderful. I didn't know that you would attend R.M. Bailey.
A recent encounter of young men soliciting funds under the guise of a fundraiser for travel for a local school basketball team is raising concern. William Noel says he was approached by 2 teen boys, alleging that they were a part of the organization.
And I spun the video camera and one of their head, he had gone down, he put his head down. I said, no man, look in the camera. At this point I knew he probably wasn't telling the truth. And then he looked at the other individual and then they burst out laughing and they said, that's right, boy. And they gone.
Following their response, Noel says he saw it as an opportunity to welcome them into the after-school program. But after the teens were unable to satisfy his questions, he grew suspicious. Immediately, he said he contacted the school's principal in an attempt to verify that they were acting on behalf of the school.
The reason why I did that is because I want that child parents or someone who knows him just from the physical appearance from behind and knew that he was there at that particular moment to correct him. Because you just don't allow a child to go ahead and do something like that. You don't know who's going to be his next victim.
Shocked by the encounter, Noel says he shared the experience on Facebook, and the response from the public was mixed. Some said, I understand your point, but then again, I'd rather them do this than engage in criminal activity. While others said, if they start this behavior at a young age, imagine what they will be like when they grow up. For Noel, he simply hoped that someone would put a stop to their actions.
Because I heard the comments and maybe they was hungry and trust me, they laughed when they ran. So obviously, I feel personally that it wasn't towards any food or anything. If they didn't laugh, maybe I would have drove behind them and was like, hey, listen, you don't got to do that. But they found a joke out of it.
Community leaders are now raising the alarm, urging members of the public to correct children when they are wrong before they become another statistic to our legal system.
At the end of the day, wrong is wrong. And someone needs to sit these young men down to let them know what they actually did and the damage it's going to cause even down the road. For the legitimate persons who are going out there, who are trying to get a little help because they want better their life, who knows, we could lose, this is so big, we could lose a VJ because of this nonsense. That's how big this is. Who else out there that needs this little sponsorship, but now this whole idea is being now scarred. People are being scarred now because of what was done by these young men.
Eyewitness News reached out to education officials for comment on the matter, but no responses were received as of news time. Rebecca Bain, Eyewitness News.
Well, if you've got a news tip or if you've seen news in the making, call the Ion News hotline at 397-6397. We also invite you to send your letters to the editor for publication on all of our social media platforms, Eyewitness News Bahamas at gmail.com. If you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page, share your thoughts about today's stories in the comments section. We want to hear from you. We're just getting started in Eyewitness News tonight, but when we come back, the PLP remains in Grand Bahama. Today, it remains deep in the throes of its candidate selection. We've got that story coming up, and later, members of Parliament debating a number of bills surrounding climate change. We've got more on that right after this break.
Vibes is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the vibes back. At BTC, we understand your vibes because we live it. That's why we are dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You are at the heart of everything we do. Our commitment is to keep your vibes flowing, no matter what.
Crunch boring lunches and enjoy real food at a real good price with KFC's value deals. For $5.95, you can get a famous bowl and a drink or one-piece chicken box. For max value, grab a value box. That's a piece of our iconic chicken, nuggets, cheesy mashed potato, a biscuit, fries, a dessert biscuit, and soda, all for just $9.95. KFC knows value, and it's finger-licking good.
Bahamian ownership in fly fishing is very important. Not only does it create opportunities for Bahamians, this is our industry, so we're proud of what we do. Opportunity is important. It's the story of my life, because with the opportunities, you can chart your own course. Prime Minister Davis and his team see the opportunities by providing these grants and what it can do for our country. It's just wonderful, and I'm glad to see these ventures working so that other people can get involved. This is real. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's help ourselves.
January means business.
This segment of Eyewitness News is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back. Here's a look at your Eyewitness News gas tracker. You're getting the cheapest tonight at Shell. $5.10. Also coming in at $5.11. Lubis the highest tonight, $5.12. Welcome back. You're watching Eyewitness News. Well, at this hour, members of Parliament are still debating a number of bills surrounding climate change and carbon credit legislation. Laurencia Smith has been following the discussion all day. She has the latest from Parliament tonight.
Government is looking to consolidate duties across multiple ministries and agencies. That's according to Prime Minister Philip Davis. He says it undermines the nation's ability to effectively respond to climate change. His comments comes as lawmakers have begun debate on the Climate Change and Environmental Advisory Unit Bill 2025 to establish a statutory body. He says it allows for more effective and efficient action.
Overall responsibility for climate change and climate finance has been consolidated. This reflects the reality that climate decisions simultaneously affect public finance, infrastructure planning, national security, and international relations.
Climate change has been a top priority for the Davis administration since taking office in 2021. Now, a key focus of the bill is strengthening climate change and finance governance.
Tagging allows us to identify and track climate-related spending while the Climate Change and Environment Fund provides a dedicated mechanism to receive and manage international climate finance.
Parliamentarians are also debating the Climate Change and Carbon Market Initiative Amendment Bill 2025, which aligns with existing carbon market laws with new framework. Davis says the bill shifts responsibilities from the International Climate Reporting under the UNFCCC to his office, reflecting of a whole of a government approach, while oversight of carbon market revenue moves to the Ministry of Finance. Opposition leader Michael Pintard voiced concern, noting that when the Climate Change and Carbon Market Initiative Act and the Carbon Credit Trade Act passed in 2022, the government made big promises.
Not a single cent from carbon trading has entered the Treasury.
Not a dime.
Not a dollar, not a nickel.
Not a dime.
These bills, Mr. Deputy, are not scaling a proven revenue stream. Is the potential there? Yes.
These bills have good objectives, but there are downsides, Pintard expressed. He shared concern about the Davis administration push for centralizing while most countries are moving towards decentralizing government operations.
And worse, Mr. Deputy, they go towards centralizing or consolidating power. Where? In the office of the Prime Minister and in the hands of the Prime Minister. And we do know that this is not a Prime Minister that likes guardrails, would probably not recognize guardrails if he saw them.
Debate on the legislation continues. Laurentia Smith, Eyewitness News.
In news from the political arena tonight, who will be governing? The governing party's ratified candidates for Grand Bahama, and could their candidates push the governing party over the edge in the upcoming election? This as the PLP continues to shift through individuals to challenge the status quo and get more constituencies under the PLP's banner. Our Jose Etienne takes it from here.
Two straight! Two straight! Stand up for the people!
Grand Bahamas Minister Ginger Moxie walled in by a dense crowd of supporters moments after she appeared before the governing Progressive Liberal Party's candidate selection committee in Grand Bahama. It was just a glimpse of what was a packed night of PLP supporters who showed out in great numbers for the Grand Bahamians they would want to be given the nod for the upcoming general election. Moxie, the Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, anchored her case on continuity, urging supporters to protect what she dubbed progress in Pine Ridge.
We're talking about the $665 million Celebration Key Initiative, the $600 million Grand Bahama Shipyard, the $210 million Freeport campus, downtown Freeport.
She's one of two incumbents hoping to stay in Parliament, and it doesn't seem there are others in the party who are trying to take a shot at her seat, unlike Kingsley Smith. The race for West Grand Bahama is heating up as Robert Grant and Kirk Neely are gunning for Smith's spot. But the man in the chair is pointing to what he's done in the PLP stronghold area since being elected in 2023.
I am on the ground. I'm hearing the concerns. I'm bringing something new to the table. I'm including more persons who traditionally would not have been able or who are not sit at the table, the political table, I should say.
There's also a growing showdown for Marco City, arguably a swing seat despite the area being represented by Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard for the past decade. Among the contenders, Dr. Monique Pratt, who's basing her appeal on what she says is a proven track record of service to her community.
I'm a physician, and I take care of pretty much Grand Bahama in general. So I'm trusted, I'm a fresh face, I create ideas for the community, and that sets me apart from everybody else.
Also gunning for the area, Attorney Tamar Moss, who's also a resident. She's of the view that change is needed, perhaps a political jab at the incumbent MP.
I believe that Marco City deserves representation that is actually present and is actually local, and their focus isn't elsewhere. That's engaging in the youth at a critical level, especially when you look at the demographics of the Marco City constituency that is very youth strong. But also we have to take into account the senior citizens that are there.
Eyewitness News also understands Bryant Lowe is vying for Central Grand Bahama, an area long considered an electoral powerhouse for the FNM. And so who will be chosen as the party's standard bearers for Grand Bahama? That question will most likely be answered on Sunday when the PLP ratifies additional candidates as election season reaches fever pitch. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Still talking politics tonight, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper revealing the governing party is still gauging its intentions on whether they will go to a pre-election convention. It comes as talks have been heating up on whether or not the major parties will do so, a move that could potentially trigger a contested race for some key party positions. There's also, as PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell made it clear, he's not vying for the chairmanship once again, and it has since reignited rumors about the Prime Minister's spokesperson, Latrell Rowing, eyeing that post.
There's no determination as yet as to whether we are going to have a convention before elections or not. That is not yet determined. There's some speculation. Naturally, some people are desiring for that to happen, but we have a great democracy. Those decisions are determined by the National General Council, and it's not just yet determined. I don't have any comment on that at this time. I serve as a part of a great organization and a part of a great democracy. Those decisions are made internally, and if I had a view, I wouldn't express it publicly at this time.
While more candidates expected to be unveiled soon for the Free National Movement in its 2026 election bid, according to party leader Michael Pintard, while remaining tight-lipped on who these faces could be. Pintard says that the anticipated release of those candidates for tomorrow has since been postponed.
Soon directly. Junior John could do this tomorrow night, so we had to move away from that. But shortly. So you were thinking shortly. Correct. We were thinking tomorrow night. So we have to just reschedule the day. That's all.
And that'll be the final ratification?
No, there'll be one more after that. For maybe one to three more after that. That's the hope.
And despite promises that the full slate will be released by the end of January, Pintard is making it clear that this upcoming ratification will not be the last, though giving no date on ratifications that are expected to follow.
There are 13 left, and so we're going to do the majority of them. Let me say that. The majority of them will be done in the next ratification process.
So do you anticipate that will be this week sometime?
No, it'll be shortly. It'll before Valentine's Day for sure.
The United Artists Bahamas Union is expressing its disapproval with the Department of Immigration for allegedly failing to implement its own policies. Union President Link Scavala is claiming that several artists have come to the country to perform but have reportedly not applied for a work permit. Current policy is published by the Immigration Department says short-term work permits must be submitted at least 30 days prior to the event's start date.
We must address, and we want an attempt today so that the government, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Immigration in particular, the Honorable Alfred says, I want him to know that the Department of Immigration, in my view, I am not pleased with the way that they are operating as it relates to the influx of foreign artists that are coming into this country. The bad part about it is they are coming in, for the most part, under the disguise of tourists.
Well, tonight, Scavala is sending a clarion call to all officials to do the right thing.
We got an issue with the government agencies that make laws, policies, and expect this union to abide by them, and the government agencies and the other union do not abide by them. And so we have an issue with that. We have met with the Prime Minister over and over on these matters, and it seems as if in the meeting, like, okay, we'll take care of that, and then after we leave it, it seems almost as if somebody pick up the phone and say, don't pay them fellas no mind. And so today, we want to make an attempt to correct that. That is wrong.
Still to come in Eyewitness News, however, we want to say, though, that we did make attempts to reach immigration officials. However, our calls were not successful up to news time. Coming up tonight, a local church gearing up for a faith and healing conference. It begins tomorrow. We've got the details, but first, a check on tonight's weather forecast.
world is changing. It's bringing new challenges, but also new opportunities. The truth is, our economy always left too many Bahamians out. Now we're opening new doors in agriculture, tourism, energy, entrepreneurship, providing grants, scholarships, national service, and upskilling. A new generation is rising, and we're finally moving in the right direction, building an economy that includes everyone.
Life moves fast, and the best moments happen when you get more from every connection.
Boy, life come true, eh? Appreciate it.
When your world is connected, more convenience comes naturally, so you can keep moving with more freedom and less interruption. From real-time updates to everyday essentials, you stay more in sync with life. Because when time matters, more reliability keeps you one step ahead. From home to work and everywhere life takes you, our network is built for more.
Yes, we got everything secured in the cloud.
Driven by a network built for today and designed to deliver more possibilities tomorrow.
Oh, how we getting ya?
Where entertainment is more immersive.
Who's again?
Hey, what's in the game?
And real-life moments come with more access instantly. This is connectivity that feels out of this world. Join the family and experience more. It's good to be alive.
It's a Holy Frosty Christmas, and Wendy's and Coke is bringing the chill. This year, when you upgrade any Wendy's combo to a large, you can instantly win big with the Upgrade and Win Christmas giveaway. We're talking travel gift cards, gadgets, holiday treats, and prizes that make your Holy Frosty Christmas shine. Just upgrade your favorite lunch combo, scan the QR code on your receipt to enter, and let the holiday magic begin. Enjoy great tasting food and win big this Christmas with Wendy's and Coca-Cola's Upgrade and Win. Rules and restrictions apply.
You're watching Eyewitness News.
Welcome back. Well, if you're in need in a boost of faith, this upcoming event might just be the event for you. Life Worship Center is hosting its first Faith and Healing Conference. It begins tomorrow, January 29th, at the church's campus on Jean Street. Senior Pastor Bishop Denzel Rose says the event is focused on building hope where culture and societal norms have tried to convince the Bahamian public that all is lost.
There is a language of near hopelessness that you're hearing so much. You know, things are so bad, and we're not in denial. We know that a whole lot of areas need improvement. Things need. We're looking for. I just visited Grand Bahama this past weekend, and you drive around Grand Bahama, and your heart is like, man, we need something to happen. And there is this desperate cry for more and for a better way of living. However, I think it's critical that our language remains that of faith, that we should always be speaking in the direction of what God has promised, not what we see around us.
The conference climaxes on Friday, January 30th. More information is being made available on the church's social media platforms. Bishop Rolls says it's an event not just geared towards believers.
I believe everything that the church does, there got to be a door open somewhere for the unbeliever to plug in, because we have been called to the unbeliever. Everything that we do is geared towards causing believers or unbelievers to become believers. You can tell where somebody's faith is by what comes out of their mouth. And so when you see the unbelievers, the unchurched, the persons who are like, oh, I ain't deep enough, I don't know if I'm ready for this. We all need to be speaking life.
Meantime, an increase in iguana sightings is raising alarm among environmentalists tonight, as these invasive species can damage vegetation and become aggressive when threatened. Recently, iguanas have been spotted in several areas across New Providence, including Cable Beach, Adelaide, and Treasure Key. Tonight, wildlife biologist and founder and CEO of the Wild Bahamas group of companies, Scott Johnson, is urging Bahamians to exercise caution around these animals.
So you want to keep records of where you're seeing them, which locations they're at. And if you do see them, then you are going to want to deal with them, whether it be through euthanizing or contacting animal control to get rid of them as soon as possible. because once you start seeing one or two, chances are there's going to be many more coming in the area. And those animals also, they use the soil to lay their eggs in, and so they're going to dig up the soil. And so not only are they going to be a threat to the crops in general, because they're going to consume them, but they're also going to be digging holes in the ground, and then that's going to lead to destruction of the soil substrate.
So to come in Eyewitness News tonight, our Laurencia Smith has your latest check on sports. Good evening, Laurencia.
Good evening, Janae. Well, we got some very exciting news coming out of the G League as one of our Bahamian stars continue to make strides. I'll tell you more about it straight ahead in sports.
This is the ride on the weekend with my grandma to this place, Burger King Nassau, where grandma enjoyed her favorite flame grilled Whopper with fresh veggies, flame grilled beef just the way she likes it. And then I enjoyed my cheeseburger kids meal with a special treat.
And now, all grown up, I get to enjoy Burger King with these people, my friends, enjoying the same classic flame grilled Whopper. Let's just say, we know flame grilled tastes better.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service meets the ultimate gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come, experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
Okay, guys, this is what we doing today. We training for the bounce back. This $150K payday. Y'all ready? Yes. Y'all sweating today. Give me a 2 ball. 10. Give me another 2 ball. 15. You spin, right? It don't look so. There's 10K. Name these games after me. Food Dragon.
Food Dragon.
Cinema Classic.
Cinema Classic.
Yeah. Put that parlay in. Put that in. You know, Jalen Brunson disappointed us last time. You want to walk for this or you want to run for this? Good pace. Good pace. Not too much water. Put it down. Let's go.
It's the Bounce Back 150K payday. Big wins for 10 weeks straight. 15K every week, 10K to a lucky winner. Visit islandluck.com for more info. Island Luck. Winners live here.
Eyewitness Sports is brought to you by 103.5 The Beat.
Welcome to another edition of Eyewitness Sports. I'm Laurencia Smith. Thanks for joining us. Topping sports tonight from the basketball court. Bahamian senior men's national basketball player Franco Miller Jr. is hitting his strides with the Santa Cruz Warriors. Miller posted a career high of 21 points, along with 8 rebounds and 3 assists in his first start of the season during the Santa Cruz 126-113 loss to the Salt Lake City Stars. Santa Cruz trailed early against Salt Lake City and falling behind 31-16 in the first quarter and 35-20 after one. Miller helped cut the deficit to 5 points in the third quarter, but the Stars regained control and held off for the win. He's currently averaging just around 7.6 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game, shooting at 36% from the field in 12 games. We're still talking basketball. In another milestone for Bahamian basketball sensation VJ Edgecombe, the Philadelphia 76er rookie guard has been selected to play in the 2026 Rising All-Star Game over All-Star Weekend. Now, Edgecombe's mother, Brenda Rule, shared her pride in a statement recently. God continues to show that he can do all things. My family and I are grateful for VJ's early success. More than this, his talent on the court. I'm proud of the person he's becoming, humble, driven, and team-focused. His selection is not just his accomplishment. He knows that the 76ers' success as a team. All glory to God. The Rising Star Game is set for Friday, February 13th as a part of the NBA's All-Star Weekend set to be hosted in Los Angeles. That's what's making sports at this hour. I'm Laurencia Smith. Stay tuned for more news on the other side of the break.
Minister of Education, the Honorable Glenys Hanna Martin, and various ministry officials were warmly welcomed by students at Vigilant Primary School during a special assembly themed A Chosen Generation Striving for Excellence. Principal Antonia Bain used this occasion to highlight some of the school's most recent improvements.
We've shown great improvements in listening comprehension, reading comprehension, science paper 1 and social studies paper 2. Give yourselves a round of applause. Look what you have achieved.
Minister Hanna Martin and Director Dominic McCartney Russell grasped the opportunity to thank the educators and inspire the students gathered.
Because we want the students and staff at this school to know that this school is a valued institution in the national education system in this country. And we also wanted to encourage the students here to be all that you can be, to work hard, to stay focused, and to ensure that you do your very, very best. We also wanted the teachers here to understand and know, and the principal and her executive, to know that we appreciate the work that you are doing in building these young people.
Thank you for giving our children the same opportunities that you received when you were a child in school. Because these are our future generation, and they are indeed a chosen generation. The Bible says that they are fearfully and wonderfully made. They are no accidents.
I'm Bryden Wilson, and this is Ed Talk.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
You're watching Eyewitness News.
Well, that wraps up news this Wednesday, but coming up and beyond the headlines with Shanique Miller, it's a full look at all of today's top stories, plus her panel discussing hot topics tonight. That's coming up and beyond the headlines. It starts right after this. That does it for us here at Eyewitness News. It's certainly been a pleasure having you in our company tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Janae Nawal saying good night and be safe, everyone.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, what's the real story behind the transfer of operations when it comes to power supply on Grand Bahama? Emera, the company identified to take over, says no agreement has been reached as yet. Meanwhile, opposition leader Michael Pintard says Grand Bahama residents are still waiting to see real results, even in the face of all the announcements made by Prime Minister Davis. And Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne says Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville is lagging when it comes to public health care. We speak with her this evening as well. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, there is new debate on the Prime Minister's announcement to transform energy in Grand Bahama. Yesterday, Prime Minister Davis announced the government's intention to acquire the Grand Bahama Power Company by bringing in an independent company to transform energy on Grand Bahama. But did the Prime Minister speak prematurely? Jose Etienne has the answer to that question.
Emera executives declaring tonight that what could be taken as definitive action by government following its announcement yesterday to acquire the Grand Bahama Power Company remains business as usual. In a statement, executives noted that, quote, there is no final agreement at this time, but the Davis administration is heralding its move to acquire the GBPC as a game changer for the island's energy sector, despite caution by Emera suggesting that officials need to pump the brakes. Now, during his press briefing on Tuesday in Grand Bahama, Prime Minister Philip Davis noted that the memorandum of signing with the Canadian-based company is still in the works.
When completed, this would mark the first time the government of the Bahamas has the control over the power company since the Hawksbill Creek Agreement was signed.
But opposition leader Michael Pintard seems far from sold on government's fitness to take over.
This government is in charge of power for the rest of the Bahamas. How well are they doing with that? Because the truth is, we still have disruption in power supplies in a number of locations, most notably in Maikal, most notably in Eleuthera. There's very little interest, I believe, or confidence that they're going to do any better than the power company, which in our view is not doing good.
Pintart's concerns reflect that of a number of Grand Bahamians who spoke to Eyewitness News anonymously about the signing with Emera while we were on the ground for a government's cabinet meeting on Tuesday. But they're also curious about the road ahead given that residents say they've been saddled with soaring power bills, an issue government is promising to seize the reins on.
It will result in universal electricity rates across the Bahamas, ending a long-standing disparity between Grand Bahama and the rest of our country.
And how soon will relief be felt?
As soon as the transaction is closed. And we estimate it will take about 60 to 90 days for the closure.
Here's where things get interesting. Government is looking to own and operate electricity in Grand Bahama while an ongoing Supreme Court battle looks into whether the Grand Bahama Port Authority or the Utilities Regulatory and Competition Authority has ultimate supervisory authority over Grand Bahama Power. Government has insisted, though, that it is the sole regulator.
For too long, the economic engine of Freeport was operated under arrangements that no longer reflect the needs or expectations of the people who live and work here. That is why we have chosen to challenge the status quo with the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
The move to acquire GBPC comes as government has undertaken an aggressive energy reform plan, and that too was initially controversial as there were concerns about Bahamas Power and Light being privatized while Pike mobilized its fleet citywide. Now, it is believed that the acquisition will open the door for BPL to move its operations in Grand Bahama. The next step, however, is addressing union agreements and staffing levels. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
And the Grand Bahama Power Authority says that establishing its power in the power deal. In a new statement issued this afternoon, the company asserted that any move to change ownership or control of the Grand Bahama Power Company cannot happen without the consent of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. GBPA says discussions remain preliminary and non-binding until any approval is sought and granted. It is business as usual for electricity service in Grand Bahama. Meantime, Prime Minister Davis is pushing back against Free National Movement Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright, who called the government's announcement on Grand Bahama contradictory to the statement issued by Emera. Of course, you know that statement was issued earlier today. Now, while in Grand Bahama yesterday, we all saw Prime Minister Davis said the government has begun the process to acquire GBPC, with the deal expected to be finalized within 60 to 90 days. That's about 3 months. Cartwright, however, argued in the House of Assembly that a statement from Emera is suggesting otherwise. Davis is accusing the opposition of attempting to create mischief instead of supporting what he described as positive forward movement for Grand Bahama.
Emera's note does not contradict anything that I said. Their concern was, in their view, I ought to have waited until they would have told their staff about the arrangements. They wished to have done it. That's what that note is about. And if you followed what I said, look at exactly what I said, there's no contradiction. And even when I was asked by reporters, when will the deal will be completed, I indicated, and it is in the newspaper as well, that it will be anywhere up to 60 to 90 days for final completion. So where's the contradiction? And why do you think you're trying to find something to make hay out of? You all should be happy that there's an effort being made to bring relief to the residents of Freeport, when you all didn't even lift one finger to do so.
Well, that is exactly where we jump in this evening. Should the approach be happiness? Because after all, an effort is being made to bring relief to the residents of Grand Bahama when it comes to power supply and the cost of power. We all know that there have been a number of demonstrations recently as it relates to power supply and the fact that there's been a request for an increase in power. People were quite upset about that. The Prime Minister said, man, hold up with what you're all saying. I didn't say anything that contradicts the statement. And then Emera, though, is saying, wait a minute, slow down. There's nothing in black and white. right? Nothing that says this is the absolute deal. And so they spoke out to perhaps not cause any anxiety among their staff. And so we're going to jump in right there this evening. Is this much to do about nothing? Or is it like Prime Minister, slow down, let's just walk one step, one foot in front of the next? Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. My contributors, Cassia Stewart, Gabrielle McKinsey-Inius, and Howard Johnson. Good evening to each of you, and welcome to tonight's show.
Good evening, Shanique. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas.
Howard, you might be muted. Listen. So let's just talk. Let's jump in right immediately, guys and lady. Is the Prime Minister say, listen, something is being done to help bring relief to the residents of Grand Bahama who have begun to be very up in arms, really, over the last several months because of increases to electricity rates and power supply that became, quite frankly, something they couldn't depend on?
Well, Shanique, I think the people of Grand Bahama are frustrated because a lot of promises have been made in the past from both administrations, and they haven't seen the progress they need. I think, though, that the Prime Minister is the one who is steering the ship. And so if he is saying that something is happening, then he knows something is happening. He may know that a deal may be a good deal. So he may have been saying that, listen, we've concluded in principle the deal. And so we just have to make sure ink out the rest. And so the whole argument, though, I always like to take it from a different angle. The whole argument here is energy. And when you look at energy costs and bringing down energy costs, the Bahamas and Grand Bahama stores one of the largest oil facilities in the Western Hemisphere. The Liverton Groups, which was a subsidiary of Norway Group, right now we hold more oil, we store more oil than just about anyone in the Western Hemisphere. You hear that? In the Western Hemisphere. We don't have an oil refinery in the Bahamas. We could have refined those same oil there, and gas prices could have been 10 cents. But we're so smart that we store all this oil in the Bahamas for a foreign company, a country, but we don't use it. And so we have no engagement to say, listen, we will store your oil, but we also need to refine some of that so that we can have cheaper energy costs. There's no reason why energy costs in Grand Bahama, New Providence, Long Island, Eleuthera is high. Because we got it. We got it. The Liverton Group is in Grand Bahama, the largest oil storage facility in the Western Hemisphere, in the Bahamas. But we don't refine the oil, and we still go buy oil from somewhere else, and we're still suffering.
It all boils down, again, Gabrielle, to how we negotiate. When we go to the table, the heads of agreement, what is it that we demand is in place?
See, Norway is perhaps the richest country in the world, and they store their oil through this Liverton Group in Grand Bahama so that they could sell oil to different countries right from the Bahamas. So they do this international trading of oil. If it's in our country, then why aren't we saying to them, listen,
we should get a piece of that.
We want to refine some of that because there are the different derivatives of oil. So when you refine oil, you get kerosene, you get gasoline, you get tar, you get about 6 different derivatives of oil. We want gasoline, we want cheap gasoline, we want cheap kerosene. We could do it. We got it. But we just don't have the leaders to make sure negotiate.
Cassius, that sounds all well and good, but how does that affect our carbon credits when we're talking about moving toward an energy, an eco? We're talking about
carbon credits is garbage.
We're talking about, but that's what the Prime Minister is moving toward. So you're talking about refining energy now and oil and all these things, but the Prime Minister is talking about an eco-friendly Bahamas. So that doesn't align with their agenda. The second thing is that it is a great thing for Grand Bahama, anything that can lower the cost. But I do agree with the company that we need to pump the brakes on it. There's nothing in black and white. You have this deal, you have the agreement tied up in court with who is the actual body that governs the power company. So I think it was done prematurely. I think we see a tone switch in the Prime Minister's speeches. I don't know if someone else is now writing them. I think he needs to go back to that original step that he always had at the beginning of his administration coming to the Bahamian people. Don't get sidetracked, caught up in all of the political rhetoric, because he had a tune at the beginning of his administration that lured the Bahamian people to him. I think if he stays on that track and tell his speechwriters, I see you put this in here, but I ain't gonna say it, and keeps moving, he's going to be okay.
Shanique, can you hear me?
We can, go ahead.
Yes. So Shanique, this is a classic example of where political expediency and political pressure clashes with the decorum and protocol of private enterprise. And so Emera wants to do business, and they want to do business the right way. And the Prime Minister, feeling the pressure and campaign season being upon us, wants to ensure that he calms all of the fears of Grand Bahamians as we approach this general election. And sometimes those things they diverge, right, instead of converge. And so what we see is that's happening is there's a different set of talk from one group, and there's a different set of talk from another group. I don't think it's much ado about nothing. What I think the Prime Minister should have done was said nothing, because now this has opened up a can of worms. Yes, you know, some projects have stalled, things haven't gone the way they were supposed to with several things. There's been misspeaks, missteps, timelines that haven't been met. And so when you feel that pressure, now you can make even more mistakes. The Prime Minister didn't have to say this. I don't think that the Progressive Liberal Party nationally has anything to worry about at this moment with the Free National Movement beating them to the finish line and winning the government later on in this year or whenever the election is called. So what the Prime Minister, this has been a terrible past 24 to 36 hours for the Progressive Liberal Party, in my opinion. And the Prime Minister just needs to slow down. He needs to slow down. So I'm going to cover both sides real quick. The Prime Minister needs to slow down and keep doing what he is doing and trying to right-size Grand Bahama and bring that economic relief. But you can't expect for everybody who is sitting at the table with you to abide by the political realities and the political pressure that you're faced with. The opposition, they seem to see an opening where they can gain grounds and get some political capital on their side. But what they need to do, however, is say, hey, in the face of this mistake that the Prime Minister is making, here's how we're going to go it different. Don't just recite what's going wrong. Everybody knows what's going wrong.
Amen.
Everybody can see it. Don't just recite, but you need to say, here's how we would have done this differently had we been the government of the Bahamas.
Yeah, good point.
Well, I'll tell you this, Cassius, I see you want to jump in right there, but I want to get in a comment, and I thank you all for participating every time, and I try to get your comments in to bring it into the discussion, so you could hold that thought right there, Cassius, for a moment. This person says, any hope of potentially light bills in Grand Bahama decreasing is welcomed. It's the main cause of business closures in Grand Bahama.
Not only in Grand Bahama and throughout New Providence, because, you know, we've been having your light bill is more than your rent in New Providence. I mean, the light bill has been crazy. And so that kills the manufacturing sector, because how could you manufacture products when the light bills are so high? And so we've been fighting this on both sides. But, you know, we have to find a way to bring the cost of energy down. And the cost of energy is fuel. And where do we get fuel from? Who buys the fuel? Who's making the money on that end? So we got to follow the trail. And so, you know, we have to be sensible when it comes to long-term projections. So this year is basically a short-term project we're talking about, whether or not we're going to get it. And I think the Prime Minister can navigate his way out of this landmine. It's just...
Well, speaking of, Cassius, if you know, something that we didn't get to and I didn't get to in shows from Monday, but at the weekend, speaking of real results in relief in the long term, you all saw a tour took place at the Blue Hills solar plant. That's something that is happening very quietly behind the scenes. So this Blue Hills solar plant is making great progress. I imagine us here in New Providence and elsewhere where BPL gives power, certainly, of course, are awaiting that and seeing what a difference that will make, gentlemen and ladies.
No, I mean, we go for a break. But no, I think the solar plant, I think they're doing something in Lutra as well too with solar. So I think quietly though, I mean, you can't do these things quietly. You need to let the nation know what you're doing. Solar is a step in the right direction. But I think we have to find a way to bring the cost of fuel down. And so we're seeing now the cost of energy going down in the United States, where gas is almost almost like by $2 a gallon. And so that you haven't seen that in almost 20 years. And so that means that we could find a way to bring the cost of fuel down so that BPL could buy fuel cheaper, so that they could provide energy cheaper. In Grand Bahama, they could do the very same thing. And so, but we have the solution in our hands. We just don't use it.
Another very insightful comment. It says, listen, tell Cassius the oil storage facility in Pindus Point, that's what you were talking about, Cassius, was once a refinery. There is a reason that refinery is closed. Also, here's this point, an MOU is not a contract, but an agreement in principle. Howard, you will have the first word when we come back after the break. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're just getting started. Speaking of which, you talk about the opposition and what they're not saying, Howard. Well, I'll tell you what Michael Pintott is saying tonight. He says, listen, Brave Davis, PLP, too much talk. Beyond the Headlines is backward after this.
January means business. January means business.
Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Okay, guys, this is what we doing today. We training for the bounce back. This $150K payday. Y'all ready? Yes. Y'all sweating today. Give me a 2-ball. 10. Give me another 2-ball. 15. You spin, right? It don't look so. It's 10K. Name these games after me. Fruit Dragon.
Fruit Dragon.
Cinema Classic.
Cinema Classic.
Yeah. Put that parlay in. Put that in. You know, Jalen Bronson disappointed us last time. You want to walk for this or you want to run for this? Good pace. Good pace. Not too much water. Put it down. Let's go.
It's the Bounce Back 150K payday. Big wins for 10 weeks straight. 15K every week. 10K to a lucky winner. Visit islandluck.com for more info. Island Luck. Winners live here.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
The Parliamentary Registration Department wishes to inform the public that the National Voter Verification exercise is currently in progress. Verification confirms your voter details, reduces errors, and strengthens the integrity of the country's electoral system. Head to your nearest verification center with your Bahamian passport and your voter's card to get verified and be ready to cast your vote on Election Day. Your vote is your voice. One Bahamas, one vote, verified.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in. Thank you all so much for participating and obviously your comments. As I see them, I get to them and add them to the discussion this evening. Now, before we move on, because the leader of the opposition has some strong words as it relates to what is being announced and what was announced even yesterday in Grand Bahama. We'll get to that in a moment, but Howard, I want to quickly get you in. I know you wanted to jump in on something before we move into this, or you would rather me go here and you speak?
I just wanted to quickly say that I don't like that, the governments in developing countries getting themselves involved in the ownership of public utilities. I believe that the current government of the Bahamas and future administrations need to continue a concerted effort of offloading public utilities, because we'll say that, if the government gets involved, we can lower rates, etc. But then you pay a price on the back end. Utilities companies the world over are now improving their grids, right, and their generation, and that's something that's future proofing, right? And so they're improving their grids. They are spending an enormous amount of money. They're accumulating debt and their debt financing to do all of these things that are necessary to continue into the 21st century. And guess what? What's the only business that can go into debt and not go out of business? The government, right? The government will not go out of business. But when you debt finance and you continue to provide subsidies to utilities when you own them, now the current and future generations of Bahamians on the back end are going to pay that price in taxation. So no, I don't like it.
No, you make a point, but also developing nations like the Bahamas and the region perhaps would see it as a necessity that government sort of drive certain industries and utility companies in particular. But we'll move on, guys, because I want to get to what the leader of the opposition is saying. He says, despite the grandiose announcements and multi-million-dollar plans, Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard says Grand Bahamians are still waiting to see real progress, from the airport upgrades to cruise pier developments and the Grand Lucayan redevelopment. Pintard warns that promises alone are not enough. We get the story from Linton Ritchie Jr., and then we come back and get some responses.
Opposition Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard says he's not sold on several of the Davis administration's so-called transformational plans for Grand Bahama aimed at reviving the nation's second city. From energy reform to airport and cruise pier development and commitments to honor previous agreements, Pintard says Grand Bahamians remain skeptical.
He has not made progress on the airport. It's either they had $120 million in the bank and we don't know where it is now, so tell us where the money is, or they didn't have it in the bank. We will support. We just need to understand the particulars. The MSC is already in the Grand Bahama market.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Philip Davis pushed back against criticism on Tuesday over delays in the redevelopment of Grand Bahama International Airport, saying talks are moving into the groundwork phase. But Pintard says residents are still in, quote, wait-and-see mode, with little confidence that promises will turn into progress.
We have made more progress since Dorian and the time we were kicked out of office. He still has not told us whether he has a design for the airport. It's exactly where the location is going to be, whether or not he's going to keep the same footprint.
Davis told reporters that the main construction firm has now been mobilized and that other contractors have begun on-site preparations, meaning the project has missed its April 2025 Phase 1 completion target. The opposition is also criticizing the administration over the lack of movement at the Grand Lucayan Resort nearly 1 year after a heads of agreement was signed with Concord Wilshire for an $800 million redevelopment. When pressed about the delay and the absence of clear timelines, Prime Minister Davis called the transaction complex, but said his government is making, quote, steady progress.
Now you tell the public it's such a complex deal. No, your story is complex and we don't believe you. What is the plan with respect to the Grand Lucayan? Workers have been complaining that they have not been paid. Even now they are behind on payments to workers.
As for the newly announced MSC Cruise Pier Complex and Beach Club at Billy Key in Freeport Harbor, a project estimated at $450 million, Pintard says the F&M welcomes the investment, but wants to see how much benefit will reach ordinary Grand Bahamians.
We just need to understand the particulars, and we don't know the deals. It's a known entity in the Bahamas that has economic might, and so we believe that it's very possible that they can do some things that are potentially transformative.
Still, the F&M says the latest round of announcements did little to lift morale on the island, arguing that residents need to see shovels in the ground, not just new plans on paper. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Prime Minister Davis, ahead of those criticisms, had a few choice words for the opposition, who he says repeatedly used the deal and other investment opportunities facilitated by his administration as a tax on the work that they're trying to get done and the administration's credibility. Davis asserted, however, that his administration will deliver on what has been promised.
The criticisms coming loudest from those who created the problem, they should hang their heads in shame and gratitude. We are only concerned with the development of Grand Bahama, not the incompetent political scammers who brought us this mess. We will ignore the noise. We'll keep doing what serious governments do. Protect workers, protect the public interests, move the project forward step by step in a way that is credible and sustainable. Grand Bahama deserve delivery, and they deserve honesty. They'll get both from this administration. When history looks back on this period, it will ask a simple question. Did we protect the public interests? Did we confront outdated systems? Did we invest in people? Did we build an economy that could withstand shocks and create opportunities? This administration intends to answer yes to every one of those questions. We are on the right side of history because we choose progress over comfort. We chose reform over delay. We chose to believe in Grand Bahama's potential and to act on that belief.
Meanwhile, Davis said that his priority and the priority of his government is not to move fast to appease the masses, but to ensure that work is started and that work is completed. You all, let's jump right in. First, you heard Leader of the Opposition, Pintard, said, listen, hold up, man. You got 1 million plans on the drawing board for Grand Bahama, but where's the plan? Where are the details of the airport and this new airport, its location, the sort of the specs on that, how that's going to look, how it needs to look, then of course the hotel and so much more. Your thoughts on how Pintard is sort of saying, listen, either put up or...
Shut up. I mean, I always remind myself of that wonderful jingle that the PLP had so many decades ago, Progressive Liberal Party. I like that, you know. I always have to remind myself that the P stands for party. And we've been seeing a lot of parties thrown. Again, We've already heard the story. You said to clap us up for the heads of agreement signing. This was supposed to come and wrap up everything that was going on. An airport was supposed to be attached to it. This has been now over a year span, and we're still waiting. I concur with the leader of the opposition on this particular matter that it's a lot of talk and too little action. We've seen progress, yes, in other areas around the Bahamas, but Grand Bahama, the second city, they want to see some of the same things. Early in the news, Ginger was saying Grand Bahama is booming, booming, boom, boom, boom. The people want to feel that. Why is it that we're still paying the ticket, the bill for these workers? Are we, the taxpayers, still paying the employees who were supposed to be long done, gone, and signed over? The hotel was supposed to be demolished. Is it indeed still standing? What's going on? So they did patch up the hole. It was all for a show. We're tired of the show. Show me more. Show me what you could do. Talk is cheap and money buy land. Is the 120 in the bank? That's all I want to know. Is the airport set to go? That's all I want to know. And this is all Grand Bahamians are saying. Show me what you could do. Shovel the dirt, dig the foundation. At least let me see the little steels. Pour the foundation. Pour the foundation at least before we go to the election.
Prime Minister Davis, this is your ship. The F&M got kicked out of office after 4.5 years of nothing happening in Grand Bahama. Stagnation. You are at the 4-year mark, over the 4-year mark, heading for 4.5 years. I don't want to, and I'm sure the Bahamian people don't want to. And yes, this is politics, the rhetoric. Mr. Pintard is doing what Mr. Pintard is supposed to do. He is opposing, he is in opposition. Now, I think he should do some things better. And sometimes I slap my good friend up, and I know he's probably upset with me. Well, he don't have to listen to me because I'm sure he is still standing and he is going to follow his dream into the next election, whether I say what I say or not. But here's the thing. Prime Minister Davis, you have to deliver. You can't say on one hand we have to pump the brakes and slow our roll with our expectations, but then you let the cat out of the bag prematurely on this announcement today. So, we have to be fair and we have to be sensible. Mr. Pintard, to you are great and eloquent at saying the things that need to be said. What you're asking the Prime Minister for, as far as plans and all of this stuff, great, but don't stop there. What you have to say, in the absence of you saying that the Prime Minister isn't telling what's going on, you map out. Man, every time you open your mouth, come with a one-pager with a checklist of things that you are going to do. You and your alternative government are going to do once elected. But I will say again, stop reciting over and over exactly what is going on and stopping there. You have to say what you will do. You are trying to be a government, and a government is supposed to produce results.
Amen. I agree with you, Howard. And listen, you guys are so on spot. And I think the PLP has not done what they needed to do in the 4 or 5 years leading up in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama is critical to the next election, and now it seems as if a lot of action is happening because we are the last hour. And so, I'm disgusted when I ride through Grand Bahama that the place has not been resurrected yet. And but my thing is that 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the F&M was in power, and they didn't do absolutely nothing either.
My minister tell y'all can't see if it was COVID, it was the pandemic, it was Dorian. I'm telling minister gotta say the same thing.
Talk. You didn't talk. You didn't run on. But
you slick though. You slick.
I mean, you was slick too.
You slick, Cassie. You slick. Slippery.
So listen, so 5 years, man, it's been there. You blame COVID, you ain't do nothing. Now, you're out of opposition, you say you want to do all these things you didn't do. And so, for me, I think Grand Bahama is just sick and tired of all of the BS between back and forth. Quite frankly, they're sick and tired. Because there's no reason why the princess died the way she should have died. The reason why She even didn't know Grand Bahama.
Go ahead, keep talking, keep talking.
Say who?
Yes. You just caught off guard when you said princess.
And so they know what I mean. So if you're from Grand Bahama, you know what I say to princess. But you know, the thing about it is that Grand Bahama is a critical powerhouse when it comes to the economy of the Bahamas. And my friends in the Port Authority, they've been trying their best to really jumpstart the engine. But you see, it's always a tug of war between the government and the port, and Grand Bahamians are caught in the middle and they're sick and tired. They are the toughest set of Bahamians on the planet because they went through all them storms, they're dealing with they live in the government and the port, and they still survive it. But I think now we need solutions. I don't want to hear no BS about who do this and who ain't do this. I want solutions. Are we going to move forward? We're going to fix the airport. Why are we still in the container, in those containers that call airport? Are we going to build what we need? Proper hotel facilities for tourists? So we need to make sure get it right. I don't hear no bunch of stories no more. We didn't pass that. Grand Bahama needs help, and help needed now.
Bring the magic back, Cassius. Let's just bring the magic back.
I'll tell you, earlier this week when I spoke about Grand Bahama, again, you see me reading comments from people, I don't know these comments, but they are talking about the turnaround in Grand Bahama and what's been happening, cab drivers. And so we continue to root for Grand Bahama. Yes, the airport, we want to see that. Yes, the hotel and all the other projects in the pipeline, we certainly want to see that. But let's move along, you all. This is quite interesting, a story. We were talking about this just before airtime. 2 adults and 3 juveniles are facing multiple charges following an alleged attack at Anatole Rogers High School last week. Prosecutors say 40-year-old Jamiko Powell, 20-year-old Doyle Bastian, and 3 teenage boys, including a 16-year-old, allegedly struck Principal Ricardo Patterson with a tire iron when he intervened during an incident involving a 15-year-old student. The principal reportedly suffered a broken right finger, so it seems like he was trying to part a fight or something was going on. These are just some animals. The accused appeared before Senior Magistrate Algernon Allen Jr., where they all denied charges of assault with a dangerous instrument and causing grievous harm. Bail was set at $5,000 and the trial is scheduled for April 22nd. Powell, Bastian, and the 2 teens also face separate charges for allegedly threatening a 13-year-old female student at the same school on the same day. They denied those charges and were each granted $1,000 bail, with their trial also set for April 22nd. Investigations into the matter continue. Listen, you all, I wanted to quickly get that in here because it's stunning the level of animalism that goes on among apparently lost, just shiftless people. I mean, a 40-year-old to a teenager, and this is how they behave and what they do.
Well, Shanique, what we're seeing happening is that, we really think that kids grow themselves up. We really think that in a society, we don't need social engineering. We need to reconstruct buildings. We need engineering for roads. We also need engineering for people. We have to curb negative behavior. And so we have to understand in a society, the leadership of a country is responsible for curbing behavior. We have to punish negative behavior. So when you read the Old Testament, right, God is very harsh when you read the Old Testament. If you do this, then these punishments. What he's trying to tell you is that we can curb those negative behaviors if you get out of line, because we want to make sure that you make the right decision. Is it possible for us to make the right decision? It is possible to make the right decision, but we need to make sure, instill in our young people that in the Bahamas, there's rules and order. There's a societal norms, and if you go against societal norms, you will be punished. Law, you don't ever break a law. We tell our children, you break yourself on the law. And that's why I taught my children, that's why they are disciplined. And so we need to teach the rest of the children in the Bahamas that if you violate the law, you will break yourself on the law.
The parents are equally to blame in a lot of these cases, because the second you even try to correct a child, I remember growing up, any adult, my mommy used to slap first and ask questions later. Now, all of a sudden, it's abuse. I mean, it may have been, but I don't know. But we turned into pretty decent citizens of the Commonwealth Bahamas.
We surely did. This sort of safe parenting is ruining kids' lives, communities, school campuses, obviously, and families.
Any adult could have corrected us, Shanique. You outside when your parent gone out and they leave you in the house, get your tail in there. Now, if a teacher calls the parent saying that the child did something, the parents cuss them out. What do you mean Johnny did so and so? They come into the school to deal with that teacher. So now a lot of teachers even live in fear, like this poor principal only trying to probably save lives on the campus, save them from killing each other. And their defense attorney really should have told them to plead guilty and stop wasting the court's time. Because why you coming there clearly involved in a brawl and pleading innocent?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Shanique, see, we have all of these social problems Gabby and Cassie has talked about, and we could talk about that until the chicken grow teeth. But we are where we are. And so when juveniles engage in delinquent behavior like this, what has to happen is the full extent of the law has to be brought to bear. So you ain't steal out the tuck, steal a O. Henry out the tuck shop, or put a banana in your teacher tailpipe. That's juvenile stuff that we used to do in school when we were kids. And you could understand that behavior and punish it accordingly, right? Within the confines of the school structure. But if you take the ages of these young men out and take it out of the school and just talk about the crimes themselves, we're talking about assault, we're talking about threats, we're talking about big boy and big man criminal behavior.
That's right. That's right.
$1,000 bail. Y'all gonna stay in prison.
They should stay
Y'all gonna get
incarcerated.
charged as adults.
Absolutely.
And y'all are gonna stay in prison until y'all trial date because y'all commit big man crimes and y'all need to face big man consequences. We have to stop playing around and playing games. When you are committing crimes like an adult, you need to be charged as an adult.
When you're acting like Animal Farm, then you get what animals get.
Cat nine tail and Rawson Square. These young people need punishment.
And you're so right. I mean, no regard for authority.
Listen.
On the school campus, the principal is the authority figure. How can you go there and want
the
to
Ministry of Education restrain these principals. They can't discipline nobody no more. We can't discipline in school. So we got to make sure let them know that. Them corporal punishment, we need to put them back. We need to make sure these little children whip their tail when they out of hand. You ain't got time to play with them.
We all support
Don't
that.
slap up with them children.
Even let the janitress beat you. Let the janitress even beat you.
When the parents come, you lock up the parents and you beat them too. Take them to Rawson Square and you get them the cat nine tail. Don't play with them.
Thank you very much, Cassius, Gabrielle, Howard. Thank you all very, very much. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, the Nurses Union President Maria Lightborn is here and she says, listen, Michael Darville, get it together. We'll hear more from her right after the break.
Fly fishing for me is kind of a way of life. My father was one of the pioneers that started the fly fishing industry.
I grew up around the industry, but it was mostly spin fishing until the invention of the fly that changed the whole fly fishing industry as we know it today.
Well, fly fishing, in my opinion, is an art form that subscribes to artificially inducing a fish to take a lure.
It's fishing, but it's more like hunting than anything else.
So it is hunting, one aspect of it is, and the second of it is creating a lure that you are imitating that is of the environment.
You're actually stimulating the bite by them visually seeing the actual lure that you're sending to them.
Crazy Charlie is the fly that revolutionized, as we know, the saltwater fly fishing industry. It was invented by my father. He recalls seeing the bonefish chasing a little bait fish called a minnow. He took a couple chicken feathers and some bead eyes of a military tag, and that was the beginning of the advancement of saltwater fly fishing industry on the flats as we know it today. The importance of that fly allow you to be able to fish for bonefish in various depths of water.
Captain Rupert Lead, my dad, who's also a pioneer in the industry, his fly was called the gotcha fly, and it emulates two things, the minnows, which is a small bait fish, and also a shrimp pattern. See, there's so many legends that I'm now standing on. Percy Darville, Ivan Nemo, who would have passed, Raymond Mackey, you've got Sidney Nemore, Carl Moxie. These guys were filled with knowledge. They were self-imposed scientists. They saw these fish act in a certain way, and they know how to target them on specific tides. I feel extremely proud to carry the baton on, knowing that I can actually teach other youngsters how to carry the mantra, and they themselves can pass it on to other generations.
The race to 2026 is heating up, and the nation's voice is louder than ever. Here on Beyond the Headlines, we're checking the mood, the momentum, and the message of the people. I'm Shanique Miller. Each week, we're taking the temperature of the electorate to see what's really driving the nation. Who's connecting? Who's cooling off? What issues are heating up ahead of 2026? This is Temperature Check 2026, where journalism meets the nation's heartbeat.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. President of the Bahamas Nurses Union, Muriel Lightbourne, is slamming Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville for his comments in the media concerning the overtime pay issue. Darville, while in Grand Bahama just a day or so ago, told reporters that he only found out about the Public Hospitals Authority exhausted budget, this is the overtime budget, days before the notice was sent to healthcare workers. Lightbourne admonished Dr. Darville to shift his focus from the new specialty hospital to the current healthcare facilities, which she claims are near a state of disrepair. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Madam President, it's good to have you here. Good evening to you.
Good evening to you and good evening, Bahamas.
So you say Dr. Darville is distracted?
He is. He's not focusing. Dr. Darville, I believe I came into as the president, I figured then that Dr. Darville was not focused. My thing, why I would say something like that, who in their right mind is going to tell me, or are you going to tell the Bahamian people that you are engaging or repairing 20-something clinics simultaneously, all at one time.
Speak right in there. Mm-hmm.
All at one time. Why are you repairing all these clinics all at one time? It's been 3 years now and not one is completed. Come on, you're making no sense.
So hold on, you were saying that in his term as Minister of Health, he took on the repair and renovation of 20 clinics nationwide, obviously, yes. More than 20 nationwide. Yes. But not one he can look at and say, but how about the one in somewhere in Eleuthera?
And they do that. The people did that.
Yeah.
The people did that.
Mm-hmm.
But my point of the matter is, I could see you saying healthcare. I could see you saying, well, let me try to repair 3 of them. The clinic in Palmetto Point.
Sort of bite off bits at a time.
And then you could say, you could look back and say, well, I did this. The clinic in Palmetto Point, for example, that been in a house for, must be 4 years before I was elected. And they went there for 4 days, my understanding is. So now they're still in that same house at 7 years. What this is?
7 years.
The children of Israel wandering in the wilderness.
7 years later.
Come on.
You, according to you, and saying that he is distracted, what is that? What has resulted in your saying and feeling he's been distracted with doing all those other things except what should be done?
You're the Minister of Health. You telling me that you don't know that you have exhausted the budget and the people that are working under you can't be paid? Come on, something have to be wrong with that, where your mind is.
But let's break this down a bit. This is the overtime budget we're talking about?
this is the overtime budget. But guess what, Shanique? Okay, they sent out this memo saying that, obviously, first of all, I know how it slip out. You know how things is get out in this Bahamian society, right? Because it obviously wasn't sent to us. None of our union presidents in PHA. But it went out, and you're saying that overtime can be paid, right? They're saying that as of January 2026, any overtime now have to be approved, payments have to be approved by the managing director. Who you telling when I don't go to work that I have to get paid depending on your approval? You got to be.
No, but it can't be after you would have worked the overtime
hours. After you
have
worked.
Okay, what is the issue? When did this new policy come into place? Because normally you would be approved for your overtime or get it by some supervisor, and you go and you work that, and you know that guess what? At the end of the month, payment will be there.
You get your pay, right? So the thing is, they're rationalizing, saying that they had exhausted the overtime budget. But this is what they said, right, about the overtime. But guess what? Payday rolling today, right? Nurses ain't get paid for their public holiday. They don't work. Nurses ain't get paid. Some nursing officers ain't get their duty nursing officer pay. Like all you got, all the nurses look forward to today was their basic salary after everything else was taken out, what was supposed to have been out. So come on, what you doing?
Has this ever happened before? I mean, I know the public healthcare system has been having and saddled with issues. I understand that, but has this issue with pay and overtime pay and holiday pay and all the rest of this?
No, never. It's never been happening. I don't even know what is going on. We have, especially with our ground staff, if you work, you get paid. If you work in January, you do a overtime in January before the pay list go in, you can get paid the next month. So why are you telling me that I only can get paid now when you approve it? That doesn't make sense.
And these people worked all over the holidays.
And listen, Shanae, you should have seen accident and emergency over the holiday.
So they had extended hours, and many of them
they were short-staffed.
Couldn't go and seek approval because they couldn't leave. You're saying
they couldn't leave, and these persons were short-staffed, and they give it their all. And you could come and tell me. No.
Where does the PHA fall into this? I mean, because what's happening, you say, Dr. Darville, I mean, I don't understand. Make the rest of us outsiders or sort of on the sidelines understand exactly how this will be addressed.
We are still waiting. On Monday, Shanique, this is another blower. On Monday, the managing director and our persons had a meeting, a Zoom meeting. They call a general meeting after all of this would have come out. So they call a meeting. A meeting would lasted 16 minutes. You call a meeting to tell the people what was going to transpire, and because of the notice that would have already gone out. 16 minutes. The meeting started at 11:17, ended at 11:33. You said nothing. Nothing different
what was
than what
in
was in that. First, she didn't send, the managing director said she didn't send out that letter, first of all. Then they saying, we're going to pay you. We don't know how. They did not give anybody a definite date on when they're going to be paid. Right? They never spoke on this new policy that, okay, if you work the overtime, you cannot be paid unless the managing director approves it. None of that was addressed. The only thing that was said in that meeting was what was written in the first memo.
Okay, have you gone to try have addressed this policy that overtime must now be approved?
No, we ain't had no conversation. Because listen to this. On the meeting, I was in the meeting. I believe other presidents would have been in the meeting. 16 minutes after the meeting was over, after the managing director said what she had to say, before you had a chance to say, when will this be paid? All you saw was House has ended the meeting.
Oh, it was an online meeting?
It was an online meeting. House has ended the meeting. Nobody had no chance to ask one question.
Okay, now it's Wednesday though, and Wednesday evening. What has transpired between Monday morning and now Wednesday night that you can say, listen, this is what my members can now look forward to, or this is the new agreement?
Well, before I came to the meeting,
and Dr. Davel did say he will look into it, did he not?
He said he's going to look into it, but they say plenty things. They can look into plenty things. And Shanique, a comfort, they tell me, a promise is a comfort to a fool. I have nurses inside Ministry of Health, DPH, from October. They have not been paid overtime. From October of last year, they have not been paid overtime. This ministry look like they are good at taking things from their employees than giving. We have nurses who their salary is being deducted as I speak from June. I have a nurse whose salary has been deducted some $600 a month, and nobody yet has told her why this money is being deducted out of her salary. Come on.
Madam President, but you're the president of the Nurses Union. How do you explain that? Deducted $600 for what? Is she owing? Is she trying to build a new wing somewhere?
Nobody is explaining. I went to, and she's not the only person. So I went to the PS, I'm being nice and courteous and everything else, and I'm saying, listen, explain to this. The only thing I got is, are they doing an investigation? They'll have to find out why this money is coming out.
But
it's going to take you.
But it continues.
But the deductions continues. Now, the thing about it is, it started, I had to ask the nurse, when she came to me, I think that was a month or two ago, I said, girl, you make plenty of money, hey. You can let somebody take $600 from their salary from June, and you just bringing it to their attention. But I'm saying to you, they always looking into things, they always doing things, Shanique, and it's not important. It appears that the workers, it's just not important.
Make an appeal to the Minister of Health and even maybe the PHA, whomever it is you feel as though can tomorrow.
Well,
bring everybody to the table and have this matter addressed, because I'll tell you, everybody has needs. Everyone, those nurses you speak of, they have needs. They obviously they loved working the overtime, knowing what the rewards would be, and the compensation, and so obviously they didn't work on slack, and so they look forward to this to be able to do more.
And they're looking forward to it. Shanique, just before I came here, I had a meeting because, listen, from 6 o'clock this morning, I was getting calls. Oh, Madam President, I get this. I went to the bank and I get my public holiday pay. I get this pay. The nursing officer, the duty nursing officers ain't get their duty nursing officer allowance. Everything. My phone was ringing. Just before I came here, I had a meeting. The nurses say, Madam President, I'm sick.
Oh, they're trying.
I am sick. I can't work and not be paid. I am sick. The nurse said, my stomach broke down when I saw my check this month.
Are the nurses trying to basically suggest to you that if this is not sorted out,
they are sick? I can't work. I can't come to work and not be paid. And so I suggest that there needs to be a sit down. You don't just, and what made it even worse with the meeting on Monday, it was like the nurses came out of it like, all she did was she pushed down our throat what she wanted to say and not even give us an opportunity to ask one question. How disrespectful.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you in all fairness to Dr. Aubernet Roll, or Ms. Aubernet Roll, I did reach out to her. I extended an invitation. That invitation is open, whether it's tomorrow or whenever you're ready. Dr. Michael Darville as well. I certainly, of course, try to reach out to him because I like to get responses from something a union president or anybody would say, just so that we all have maybe a better appreciation for what's happening or what's going on right now, and when payment would come, and even the claims of salary being deducted of nurses who are stumped as to why. And so I did reach out. I made attempts on Monday, and I was not granted the interview. But again, this evening you heard the president here, so certainly, of course, you're welcome to respond. once again.
And Shanique, not only that, you know, we have so much issues, especially when it comes to salary. Our industrial agreement says that our nursing officers, 2 and above, they normally work sessionals. But when you work public holiday, they are paid double pay, right? That's the law states that. Anyway, but why is it that I have to keep going to these people and saying, listen, why are you not paying the nurses their double pay that they're entitled to? And everybody taking you around the mulberry bush and say, oh, you're waiting on one answer, one go ahead from corporate, from PHA corporate to put, man, Miss Miller? And then they're wondering why nurses are leaving. They ain't gonna put up with that. Who can put up with that? How long you gonna put up with that?
President of the Bahamas Nurses Union, Maria Lightborn, thank you very much for being here this evening. Once again, Beyond the Headlines reached out to and spoke with a PHA requesting an interview. That invitation is still on the table because certainly you would want to come and respond to this, much of what was said here this evening. And so certainly that invitation is on the table and will remain there. Also to the Minister of Health. We want to know so that we can kind of just have a more balanced view of what's happening in the Ministry of Health and overtime pay and holiday pay and all the rest of it. Yes. I thank you once again, Madam President. Thank you for being here. Of course, to my Hot Topics panel, thank you very much for being here this evening. I certainly enjoyed having you all along. And then to all of you watching this evening and all of you participating, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for your comments, your thoughts, all the rest of it. That's how we do here, particularly in this season, get you involved as well. So thank you so much for participating this evening and thank you for tuning in. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.
The Verizon Media Group, home of ILTV, Paramount Systems Limited, Eyewitness News, and